So I'm just going to check the sacred soul messages, and then I'm going to see what shadows might still be lurking that may not have been completely worked through, so then we can see what it is that's keeping this emotional distance between the two of you. Yes, okay, so there have been wounds. So there's been wounds that were experienced probably by the breakdown of your connection. But where the cracks appear, that's where the light comes in. And that's what bursts you open into looking at things from a different viewpoint, from having a different perspective. It gives you the strength that you need to be able to carry on and push through, because as you move forward through the shadows, the light starts to expand and it does start to shift your perspective. So this person is still wearing a bit of a mask. They are still wearing a bit of a mask. So beneath the surface, things might be slightly different than what they are appearing at the moment. So there is a slight lack of honesty there. There are things that are being hidden. And I think that's what you're picking up on. So then you know that something's not quite right, even though you've reconnected. So that's triggering you. But we will see from the shadows what's still lurking and what still needs to be worked through, because you are moving forward with this person. You are making progress with them. So even though it might not seem like that to you at the moment, that you're making these small steps forward, and that is still shifting things. And you need to have confidence and keep the faith within the connection, and that you are supported. And if this is your divine connection, if this is your soulmate, if this is a twin flame union that's moving towards a soulmate connection once the karmic lessons have been worked through, then that person will return to you. And it's so important that you keep that faith and you keep moving forward. And don't let these other things distract you, these small things that are coming through. There might be little white lies that are going on here, but it's not something that's so significant that you shouldn't be working through it with this person. It might just be that they don't feel ready to tell you that information yet. But they are rising. They are rising with this hot air balloon. This is about, you've seen my descent, now watch my rising. So you've seen them fall. You've seen them at their worst point. And now you get to see them build from the ground up, which is such a beautiful thing to witness, somebody go through that level of transformation. So this is a connection that does need time. You have gone through a breakthrough. They are going through a transformation. The connection is transforming into a deeper connection, but it is going to take time. It is going to take time. Sorry, my AirPods just died there, so hopefully you can still hear me. It is going to take time to move through this transformation, and for that transformation to take place within the relationship as well. So it's not just you individually that's transforming, but the connection has transformed. Because I find when people reconnect with someone that they've been in a relationship with, it's so easy to slip back into that exact same situation that you were in before. And if things are needing to shift and change and move forward for it to be a more healthy connection, then it's so important that you work through these little things as they crop up, because otherwise you're just going to slip straight back into those negative repeating patterns with that person. This is why it's so important when we get back together with somebody that all these things are spoken about, that cards are laid on the table, that there's complete truth and honesty, so that you can rebuild in a different way within the connection. You go off, you learn your lessons, you rebuild by yourselves, but then when we come back together, it's important that we keep that newness, that freshness, and that we don't slip straight back into those repeating patterns. So that's what the transformation is for. That's what they're rising for, so that you don't slip straight back into that old slipstream of the way that you used to behave together. But this connection is worth taking a chance for. That's what you're being told. Risk pays off. So this isn't something that you need to run away from. It's not something you need to hide from, but it does need to be worked through in the correct way. I'm going to check the shadows now. Okay, so let's see what shadows might still be lurking within this connection that needs to be worked through, because there's obviously some stuff that's being hidden. I don't feel like it's very severe stuff, but for some reason they don't feel that they can highlight this to you at the moment. What are the shadows that are still lurking within this connection, please? And these need to be addressed, but in the right way, once we see what they are. Oh, okay. Right, so there are soul contracts that are at play here. So there are soul contracts that are playing out. So this is a divinely guided connection. You have agreed to come here with this person that you're in this connection with to learn lessons together. So there's things that are playing out divinely, and it's difficult when you're in a soul contract with somebody because sometimes you might not understand the way things are playing out, but it's because it needs to play out that way. So it's being guided by your spirit team, by those people, your guides, your spirit team, sorry. And healing takes time. So as you work through these healing journeys, these things do take a lot of time. You know, sometimes people can separate and go off onto a healing journey and they don't come back together for years, because the progress through these sorts of things is not linear, and it depends what you've experienced as to how deep your triggers are and how deep your traumas are that you have to work through. But the people that trigger you are often your greatest spiritual teachers. So that's why you agree to come down together and learn these lessons together. So even though this feels very heavy for you and it's hard for you that you had to go through that, you were literally soul contracted with that person to go through that situation. So it's almost like they were soul contracted to for these things to happen. And it's really important that you understand that, because a lot of the time it's for our own growth, not for theirs. And we can feel so hurt and so triggered by the things that these people do. And it's not until you get years down the line that you can actually step back and look at that situation and think, but look where it got me. Look what it taught me. It's so hard to see it from that viewpoint, from that lens, when you're in the situation. So again, we've got the perfectionist trap here, that we're wanting to come back into these connections and for everything literally to fall perfectly, like where everything lays, and it just is not. That's those unrealistic expectations that I spoke about at the beginning, because that's not realistic. And when you've been through a traumatic situation with somebody and you're trying to rebuild that connection, it's even more unrealistic to expect something to land so perfectly. So you need to embrace the progress that you're making, rather than looking at the fact that things are not perfect, because that's a trap that you're falling into, well, either of you, within the connection. And that needs to be released. You need to surrender to the connection, especially as it's being divinely guided. There's soul contracts at play. It's almost like when there's soul contracts at play, it just is going to be what it is. And you need to accept that and surrender to it. The more you try to control the situation, the more you are going to slow it down, because you're building up resistance in the situation, and you won't even realize that you're doing that, but it does. It builds up the resistance, which just slows things down over time. And the overthinking causes paralysis, so it just stops things from progressing forward. It stops things from moving forward. But we need to surrender to those energies and try not to overthink about things. Now, a lot of the time people can think that overthinking as well is their intuition. If something's whirring around your mind, then it's overthinking, because intuition is a flash. It's something fast that comes in and then it's gone. If you're playing something over and over in your mind, then it's the overthinking. So are you narrating your life through a lens of limitation or through a lens of empowerment? Really step back and think about that. The way you speak to yourself, the way you speak to your partner. Are you lifting them up? Are you trying to help them? Or are you bashing them back down because of you're looking at the situation through a lens of limitation? I think I'm going to have to go to a part 3.